So a question is basically, should you be asking, for permissions during sex to do this or to do that? Because if you ask it during sex, you are concerned that it will be annoying for a woman because she's turned on by you being decisive and taking her. So no, a woman wouldn't want you to be asking permissions all the time during sex. Can I touch here? Can I touch that? Can I do this? Of course not. That would be annoying. So in everything you are doing, there are kind of parameters, yeah? For example, if we are talking about the part before you get to the genitals, all the things I taught you, how to touch her body in all the different places, how to have the whole body contact and the flow of your bodies together, how to touch her breasts, how to enjoy her with your face, with your mouth. So all that part, it has parameters. You have an idea what would be like stupidly hard way to do it that would just not feel good to her, right? You also have an idea what would be a stupidly soft way of doing it that would also feel of nothing to her, or a stupidly fast or a stupidly slow, right? So there are certain parameters within which you need to remain, good principles of technique that I teach you in detail. Within those parameters, it is a completely free space for you to enjoy what you want whenever you want. Before you get to the genitals, if you have a good technique, you don't need to ask anything. You can touch anything you want in whatever order you want, as long as you know how to do it well. And a woman will enjoy all your choices, and she wants you to make those choices. You can move any way you want on her body. You can flip the position into any position that I showed you. So that's all kind of completely free play space for you. Yeah. So then after that, you might move on to the genitals. Yeah. You might want to give her oral or use your fingers inside. Do you ask her for permission to do one of these things? Well, look, I'm not going to tell you what to do. You can decide for yourself what makes most sense to you, but I will tell you different possibilities. If you know this woman, as in if it is your partner or somebody who you know well in sex, yeah, and if you already know that she enjoys oral or she enjoys fingers inside, then I don't really see much reason why you need to ask for permission here. She will enjoy it, go there when you want to, and you can be creative with it as well, yeah? So you can like go there at different times during sex, in different ways. I think it would be really excessive to be asking all the time whether you should do it now or not. If it is somebody who you don't know, you just need to know that not all women enjoy oral or fingers inside. Now, what do you want to do with that information? If we knew that all women enjoyed oral, then this would be a different situation. So you're about to do something that potentially she might not enjoy, she might be nervous about, she might want to avoid. And you're about to do it without permission in her body. If she doesn't like these things and you do them, probably not going to make her angry, but you're going to tense her up and you're going to be essentially working towards turning her off by doing this, because she's going to go into her head, she's going to be uncomfortable, she's going to be not enjoying herself. So if your objective is not to turn a woman off, then you might turn a woman off by not getting a go-ahead here. So this is like you were in one room and you could do anything you wanted in that room, and now you're about to pass to another room and there is a door. Once you get through that door, you can again do whatever you want, but this is like going to a different place. There are a lot of women who have a negative experience with oral or with fingers. So you have a pretty high chance of making a woman uncomfortable. And this will have nothing to do with you. It will have to do with her previous experiences. And you can fix it by giving her really nice oral or really nice fingers in the way, for example, that I teach you in the course. And you may very well be able to give her a really nice experience, but because you're throwing it onto her unexpectedly, she will just be anxious and tense. And even though what you're doing is very nice, she might still have like a difficult experience with it. So personally, I think that this is one of those checkpoints where it is kind of prudent to just check in. And this really doesn't need to turn a woman off. It can be a very quick, cool, do you want me to go down on you? If she says yes, then, that's the only time you probably have to ask. And then the next time that she enjoys this kind of thing, yeah? You might also get some interesting information when you ask. You might hear a moment of hesitation. So what you're hearing there, that she is thinking that maybe it's going to be kind of not a nice experience like before, but I don't know how to say no, so okay, let's give it a go. Let's see what happens this time, right? So what's the practical takeaway? That if you go down on her, then you'd better do it like give her a really nice experience and take it steady so that she has time to relax. Don't just, launch in. Do it properly in that sequence that I showed you, because she will need like extra care there, yeah? So context, in my opinion, if you know the person, they enjoy it, there's no need, you're not going to do any harm by not asking and just, deciding to do that for them. But if you don't know the person, then this is a thing to consider. It might be a good thing to check in the first time. Also remember that sex without consent is not just penetration. Oral sex without consent is also sex without consent, yeah? Do you need to ask any more permissions after that when you have started using fingers or going down on her? I don't think so. What you need is a good understanding of what you are doing. So how to progress that in the right way that will give her the best feeling. Yeah. So at most, there is a possibility you might ask a corrective question once. We will talk about that later. And even that is a big maybe. Probably you don't need to ask anything else if you know what you're doing and if you can read her. And then we get to the penetration. Now, this is the only place in sex where I would not compromise if I were you. If it is your partner who you know well and you know when she wants you inside, obviously, most couples who have sex regularly don't ask, is it okay to penetrate? They just feel when it's the right moment and it all kind of flows naturally, of course. Totally valid. If it is somebody who you don't know well, then I would say always ask before going inside. Again, you're not asking for permission. Can I use your body for my satisfaction? You are asking her if this is what she wants. The thing about penetration, there is absolutely no other way for you to know whether she actually wants penetration. Forget any kind of non-verbal sign myths that you have ever heard, that, if she's wet, it means she's ready for penetration, that if she's moving a lot into you, it means that she wants you inside. And penetration is a really sensitive subject for women. This is a place where they often feel violated, like it is against their will. So it's just a very sore and triggering, raw issue for them. She wants to be penetrated when she is ready to be penetrated. Now, there is no way for you to know that she's ready to be penetrated unless you hear it from her verbally. How else would you know? That she looks really excited, that she's moving a lot, that she looks really turned on and horny? Maybe. That does not mean that she wants you inside. She might still be getting there. I guarantee you the number of times you think that a woman is definitely ready for penetration, and it turns out that, that is not what she's thinking in this moment. She wants for the moment to stay with whatever you are doing for longer. It's extremely easy to misjudge. Anybody who tells you online that there is some kind of signals or there is a way to know when a woman really wants penetration is somebody who has on several occasions penetrated women without them really wanting it. I can totally 100% guarantee you that. Lubrication is not a sign that she wants penetration. Lubrication is not even a sign that she is turned on and aroused. I've made videos on that before. This is called arousal non-concordance. You can look it up. It basically means the woman's body can get wet because the woman's body knows that sex is going to happen, but it doesn't mean that she's turned on or she wants it. She might even be terrified and really not wanting it, but her body knows that sex is going to happen, judging by all the things that are going on in the moment, and her body is lubricating to protect from damage, because that is the function of lubrication. It is not to show you that she is aroused. The function of lubrication is to protect from damage. So I would be safe here, and I would just ask, do you want me to go inside? Again, it can be in the moment, it can be sensual, it doesn't need to break the moment, For a lot of women, I guarantee you, this is like a really amazing feeling of relief. You're respectful and you are giving her space. I mean, that will be normally really appreciated. So I would not worry that you're going to turn a woman off by asking, do you want me to go inside? If there is a woman like this who is turned off specifically by this, I say she needs to sort herself out. It is not your problem. This is your red line. This is, do not compromise on this. It's a reasonable thing to do, and it is totally unreasonable of her to prefer you to not ask if she wants to be penetrated. At least, if you don't know each other. Like, I understand in a relationship, in a partnership, you don't need to ask. You can feel, you know each other. That said, there are some times when in a relationship, you also just want to check in, because this is done like out of care, Sometimes you feel that your partner is not really responding as well as normal today because, people are stressed, or there's like a different energy in her today. She's maybe struggling to connect with it a bit more than normal. Maybe she's in a particular state of mind or emotion that, needs sex to be like a lot more gentle, more soft today. So it can be a bit too much, like she's not ready for it. So if you feel a bit of a different energy today, sometimes it is not a bad idea to check in and to ask if she wants you to go inside right now. It's just out of love, out of care, to check if it's too soon or she needs a bit more time, Once you start intercourse, I don't think you need to ask for any more permissions. If you go into the intense phase, then you might want to check in with a couple of corrective questions that we will discuss, just to check that at high intensity things are not too much or not uncomfortable. That's not a bad idea. Again, if you don't know your partner, context dependent. You can flip the positions any way you want. You don't need to ask permission to, change the position. A woman will typically appreciate you taking charge of that, so that's all fine as well, So I hope that all makes sense. But a little aside here, this is just for things that are kind of normal, yeah? If you're going to do anything high risk, then you do need to ask permission for all things that are high risk. What do I mean by high risk? I mean anything that might damage her or hurt her or turn her off in a way that, you are annoying or you're being a creep, yeah? Because you don't want to damage anybody and you don't want to come across as a creep to a woman who, doesn't appreciate those high risk things. So it's, for example, some women might like some kind of rough sex, but you can't just, try rough sex and see if she likes it. What if she doesn't? That will turn her off super fast and forever off you. In the best case scenario. In the worst case scenario, you just traumatize somebody. Slutty, dirty talk with bad words, some women like it, but, you can't just try it on a woman and see if she likes it. If she doesn't like it, you're out. She will never see you the same way again. So there are basically high risk things because they are high risk for her. They can create a negative experience for her rather than just, not an optimal positive experience, but a really negative experience. And they are high risk for you because you are really taking a gamble here. If she likes it, you got it right. If she doesn't like it, you got it really wrong. And, you've blown your chances much more than if, you asked for permission and that turned her off. With some things, there is far more probability that you are going to turn off this person by not asking permission and doing something if they turn out to be the wrong person for it, than the probability that you are worried about, that you're going to ask about it and that will turn her off. If you're worried about turning a woman off, you've got much better chances when you ask permission. And in the case of these high risk things, it's awkward for you to ask about them during sex. Do you want me to slap you or do you want me to call you a slut? Because by asking, you basically have just done it anyway. That has been communicated to her. And if she doesn't like it, it's going to have the same effect. So you either carefully find out about it in a conversation outside of sex, just to know where you stand, or you do it because she's clearly asking for it. She's asking you for it in sex. If the woman doesn't have the balls to ask for something high risk like this, do not volunteer it, it's not your problem. If it is so important to her, she has to be the woman who can ask for it during sex. If she doesn't, it's not important enough. It might be a desirable, but it is also okay if you don't do it and you just have normal good sex with her, yeah? I hope that makes sense.